Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. Hello honeys, happy Wellness Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I'm just gonna paint the scene for you. Okay, so it is Monday. I'm recording this on Monday. It is the day after our Autumn Equinox Weekend Retreat celebration. That was a lot of words. And I'm feeling this combination of like drunk but also hungover, but also like I've been hit by a bus, but also feeling very like calm, content, grounded all at the same time. My body is feeling so heavy and I'm like sat recording this wearing my dressing gown like a cape and basically horizontal on my sofa because I can't fathom sitting any taller. Okay, right, so this episode is of course going to be a little debrief of what went down this weekend. And before I kick things off, I just want to say again a huge thank you to everyone that showed up, or even if you couldn't make it but have been supporting us behind the scenes. It is so appreciated and so, we just feel the love so much. And we had many conversations over this weekend where sometimes the support you get from your clients, from yogis and, you know, people that show up within your business, sometimes the support you get from those people is sometimes more than what you get from your family or your close friends. And you guys really keep us going. We genuinely mean that. It is all down to you, and of course it's all for you. So when you guys show up, even if it's just commenting on our content, sharing our content, or actually buying into what it is that we offer, coming along to these events, or showing up for a massage with Dani, coming along to a class with me, though, like, you guys you show up for us and it means so much. And it's you guys that allow us to do what it is that we love to do, okay, in putting on these bigger events and you know, creating these visions, allowing us to amplify, allowing us to set our sights higher, allowing us to improve time and time again. It's literally down to you guys. We are so grateful. Thank you so much. And I think that is the main reason why I'm feeling, you know, that calmness, this contentment today, because God, it just went so smoothly, even better than I imagined. But like Dani and I just felt so relaxed the entire time. I think we've got to this real point now where the way in which we work together is so seamless and so smooth. We can just trust each other and it just works. And the beautiful thing is, like, not only do we work so well together, like behind the scenes, we get on so well as well. You know, in a retreat, you are spending, like Dani and I spent 48 hours together solidly. And that is a long time to spend with anyone, right? That's a long time to spend with family members. It's a long time to spend with anyone. And Dani and I like also both live on our own, right? And I know personally, I'm not going to speak for Dani here, but I know personally I have quite limited social battery. And I think when you surround yourself with people who amplify your energy, who lift you up, it keeps that social battery kind of topped up a little bit. And yeah, we had some amazing laughs, literally laughing till we're crying, like rolling on the floor, laughing. Honestly, so many moments. So as I take you guys through this little debrief, I'm going to share a little bit of the behind the scenes as well. Because obviously you guys see, if you were there, you see the end result, right? But there is so much going on. This is an entire year in the planning. So we sat down and we planned all of our events for 2026 and we decided, not 2026, what year we're in? Hang on, 2025. We planned all our events for 2025. And that in itself was a huge win, because we went into 2025 knowing what we were doing, knowing what we were going to show up for. And then the ideas just kept dropping in. We'd always have these little downloads, and we'd occasionally voice note each other, like, what if we did that? What if we did this? We had so many meetings where we'd kind of discuss like our independent vision. I think the Friday night and the Saturday day, because we'd already done it, we had a bit more of a clearer idea of what we wanted that to look like and what we wanted that to feel like. Again, just how can we amplify? How can we make it better? So in the edition of the Sunday morning, that was... Again, it just felt like a lovely addition. You know, we're in this gorgeous space. We've hired out this amazing farmhouse. Let's really utilize it, right? Let's invite as many people as we can, have a gorgeous brunch set up, and then just do like a real chilled out yoga session in the barns. And you'll hear Dani say a little bit later, you are going to hear from Dani in this episode. I asked her to send in a couple voice notes. And actually, on a little side note, some of you guys might remember that last year we actually recorded a podcast episode from the farmhouse after the Friday night. We were so wiped last year, and I think this year, in knowing that we were adding a third element, I was like, I don't want to overwhelm us. The thought did cross my mind to ask Dani whether she'd be up for recording a little podcast episode together, but I was like, I just don't want to overwhelm us. We're good, we're set, we know what we're doing, and I don't want us to feel... I want us to make sure that we've got that time to decompress in between these events and not think, oh, okay, we've got a podcast episode to record, because, you know, that time is so needed. I'm going to get into that even more. The whole personal prep and looking after one another. It's so important. And yeah, with this brunch event, we knew that was going to be like the cherry on top of the cake, and it was going to be an amazing culmination of the weekend. And it really was exactly that. So let's break it down a little. Let's break down this kind of, the week running up to the event and the weekend of. And I think in last week's episode, I told you guys about how I spent the entire weekend before completely on my own. That was the beginning of my personal prep, okay? Spending entirely on my own, as I mentioned. I think I have quite a low social battery nowadays. I think even more so because I do live on my own. I'm very used to just having my own space and having that time to decompress on my own. So I knew ahead of this weekend, where you're catering for 35 plus people, that is a lot of people, that is a lot of bodies. And there, as I said, there are moments where I was like, good God. But it's amazing how many of you showed up. It was honestly beautiful. Having that downtime, having that alone time, getting into macrame again, that hobby where I could switch off my business brain and just focus in on me, be mindful of my own energy and where I was spending my energy, limiting my screen time, all these lovely things, and just making sure I was really showing up for myself ahead of a weekend where I was going to be dedicating and pouring out my energy towards everyone else, right? And then even in the week running up, I had this feeling of just keeping both feet firmly planted, rooted into the earth, one steady step at a time, because I know towards the end of the week, things were going to ramp up a little bit. And I was making sure I was keeping my mushroom tincture supplements going, my collagen going, my electrolytes going, rest, and I've got into that good habit of no screen time past a certain time in the evening. Again, it's these little things. It might not sound like big things. It might not sound like hugely important, but I promise you it does make a big difference. I think that's why I went into this weekend feeling as calm as I was. And also, you know, because I knew I had Dani by my side. That's obviously another big reason as well. And then, of course, it gets to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is when Dani and I do our big food shop beforehand. Dani is like a kid at Christmas when we go to our shop. She's like, oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? She sees these mini pumpkins. She turns to me and she's like, oh, can we? And she does this face. And I'm like, go on then, get your mini pumpkins. But they were cute. They did add to the centerpiece of the table. And I've actually got one on my coffee table now. So it's all fine. I love it. I love Dani's enthusiasm for this kind of stuff. So yeah, and again, it's just her passion coming through. And then of course it's making sure the information is out there. We want everyone to feel like they know what they're doing, okay? From the moment you arrive, we know how to get there, we know where the car parking is, we know how to locate the farmhouse, there's that reassurance that we'll be waiting for you. That's really important to me, and I think Dani's mentioned before where she went to an event of some sort and she had to like scroll back through her emails to find out the information. I was like, no, we don't want that. We want to make sure that a couple of days prior, there's big email sent out with all the information, everything they could possibly need, so they can be as prepared as possible. So that, again, it keeps things running as smoothly as possible. So no one's stressed, no one's worried. We're not worried. People know where they need to be, and then we'll handle the rest, right? Again, it's that extra note of care and attention, I think, and that's quite important to me. It's Thursday, it's gathering everything. Literally, I felt like I was packing everything but my kitchen sink. This is probably the only time where I like living alone just that little bit less, because like, oh, it'd be so gorgeous to have like just a man in the house just to pick things up and carry things around for me. But then I'm like, no, she's a strong, independent woman, she got this. So I'm lugging these bags up and down these stairs, but we did it. We don't need no man. And then before we know it, it gets to the Friday, and again, personal prep through and through. I still dedicated that time in the morning for my own PT session, getting my body moving, a little bit of time out for me. And again, popping out, getting any final little bits. Oh my God, let me share something hilarious that happened on the Friday. So there's always something, when we do our food shop on the Wednesday, there's always something we forget or gets lost. There's always something. And at a previous event, we'd got these mini packs. This is going to sound silly, so silly. But at a previous event, we got these mini packs of butter to hopefully like minimize like butter waste. And yeah, so everyone would have like an individual packet of butter, right? Now, I had ordered them, but it was looking like they weren't going to arrive in time. So I was like, oh God, okay, we need to make sure we get some butter. I had voice noted Dani. I knew she was going to Sainsbury's. So I was like, okay, let me know if you're able to get the butter, blah, blah, blah. I was also going to head to Aldi to get some other stuff because I knew they had some gluten-free stuff there as well. And we needed to cater to some particular dietary requirements. And that, again, is another thing that's so important to me. I want to make sure people feel nourished and looked after, body, mind, spirit, soul, all the things. So I was going to Aldi. And I'd messaged Dani, like, let me know if you're able to get the butter. I'm in Aldi, I'm staring at the butter. I was like, Dani's not messaged me about, do I get some butter? Anyway, I couldn't get the butter that I wanted. So I then go to Sainsbury's and I'm like, right, okay, get the butter, because I've not heard from her. So just in case she's not got it, I'll get the butter. As I'm driving out of Sainsbury's, I see Dani's car drive in front of me. She mouths out the window, I've got the butter. And I'm like, I've got the butter too. And then I'm obviously chuckling in the car and we end up ringing each other. We're driving in convoy. Because we both live basically next door to each other, and we're both just laughing about the situation. And then I kid you not, I get home, I start cooking. What arrives? These mini packs of butter. So I have an abundance of butter right now. If anyone needs butter, I got you. I won't need to buy any butter for a long time. So love that for me. Anyway, get home and then it's on to prepping the meal for the Friday night, and I also did roasted veg for the Saturday. The stew we made for the Friday night, let me tell you, I'm still salivating over that stew. That was delightful. Obviously, we load up the car, we get to the farmhouse, and then it's all systems go. And we start getting everything set up. And I think because we know the farmhouse very well, it felt like coming home. And we're like two excited little kiddies. I think because we've been there before, it was familiar. There was like an element of comfort about it. Memories coming back from the pasture as well. And I literally said to Dani, I was like, I'm having the same room because it just feels like it's my room now. It wouldn't make sense to be anywhere else. And yeah, very quickly got things set up, and Dani's very good at making things look aesthetic. I mean, I like the barns to be set up in a particular way, but things in the house, Dani is very good at, the little store, the shop we had set up, and I'll get on to the Sunday morning brunch. That was Yeah, I'll give Dani credit for that because she does set things up very, very beautifully. I think from this point, let's get Dani involved. Let's see how she is feeling.
Hello, I've been asked to do a little review for the podcast in order of our gorgeous Autumn Equinox Retreat weekend held at Polhanger Farmhouse. My gosh, I don't even have words, Lauren, right now. I feel like in this drunk, hazy state of like just bliss. The weekend went so well. Friday night was such a joy. We settled in, we left Bedford, about 3 o'clock, headed on down, got set up and ready, and just felt like from that moment onward, it was just such an easy flow. My favourite bit of that evening, I would say, was just seeing everyone enjoy the gorgeous essential oil-based facial massage oil I use, which was a neroli and lavender, and everyone was like, oh my god, this smells amazing, and they just knew it was going to settle them into a nice restful sleep. And closing circle was really special as well. Obviously during your yoga practice I was like setting up and getting things ready for the evening meal, so I didn't see too much of that, but what I did see, it was totally magical. And to be honest, being in the barns, it sells itself because the fairy lights just do different things, right?
Yeah, she's so right there. Those barns are something else. It's amazing what, like, keeping things simple, you know, you don't have to have this big fancy space with all the equipment. You can literally just have an empty farmhouse barn and create magic in it. Absolutely, just whack a few fairy lights up there. Excellent. So yeah, I do feel like the barns at the farmhouse just hold some sort of, I don't know, space. Yeah, it's beautiful. I think my favourite part of the Friday evening was, again, just how smoothly everything went. People started arriving and everyone very quickly got cozy, and we wanted people to, you know, fully utilise the entire farmhouse. So you're going to sense that that's going to be a bit of a theme as we're talking about all three events. Yeah, we wanted to make sure there was space for people to land, to take everything in, to soak it all up. And again, it's, you're taking time out for you, right? You have dedicated this time for yourself. So we want to make sure you enjoy it, not just with the things that we are providing, with the activities, with the workshops, with the practices, with the food. Again, just simply being, existing in that space. Yeah, we wanted to allow for that as well. So yeah, I think just how smoothly the Friday went. I think, again, because we had done that before, we knew what was going down, and everyone just looked so cute in Dani's botanical skincare workshop, which I'm always so jealous about. I'm always like observing them getting cute in their essential oils and their beautiful cleanse, and Dani had brought on these slightly ridiculous but also ridiculously cute headbands for people to wear, so it like kept their hair out of their face as they were taking themselves through this skincare cleanse. And I happened to walk in with everyone with these headbands on, and it just looks so beautiful, and Dani's taken them through like a lovely facial massage as well, and yeah, that was stunning. And that's another thing, just another thing in general, like, I don't know how people run these events solo. They have to have help, they have to have support, because Dani and I, we literally are a team. One person's running a practice, the other person's perhaps setting up for the next thing or tidying up after the dinner. And Lord knows I love Dani, right? I love her, she's a queen. Couldn't do this without her, but she's a goddamn messy cook. She is messy in the kitchen. so we have this delightful meal, and then I'm like, right, let me go clear up this mess, shall we? But it's important. You need that, because otherwise, if you just let it build, it just makes the get out process, the checkout process, just 10 times harder. And when you've run through events and you're exhausted, you're on your last legs, you don't want to have to be like doing everything. So yeah, we make sure to keep on top of things, and it just keeps things, as I say, running smoothly. And then the Friday evening, yeah, we chilled. We were, again, very excited for the next day, but we made sure to have a little sit down. Our routine is to get a pizza in the oven, sit on the sofa, talk about how we feel things have went, any ideas that have dropped in for the next day, because there's always things that come to mind. We're like, shall we add this in, or shall we change this, shall we do that? There's always an evolution happening, and we're in it. We're always like shaping things, adding things in right until the last second, right until it's happening. And I love that about us and how we're just adaptable. It's this beautiful process. And then the next morning, the morning was beautiful because, again, we had time, we had space, we got up at a good time. I think we felt fairly rested. There's still some like busy brains going on and that excitement as well. So yeah, we had a nice slow morning. We played some music. We both went out and stood outside. And I don't know whether I feel this more because I am in a flat, but having access to that outdoor space where you can just like walk out the back door, bare feet into grass. Oh, I felt like it was healing a part of my soul. That was just so beautiful. Very grounding way to start the day. And we did have a smaller group on the Saturday, which we're so fine with, actually. Sometimes it's easy to think like, oh, there's not many people here. How's this going to go? What's the dynamic going to be like? And you'll hear this from Dani as well. But honestly, the group we had on Saturday held about as much energy as about 10-15 people. It was just a gorgeous group dynamic, so funny. There was a moment where it just got a little bit chaotic, especially when it was coming to Dani's tension release ritual, where Dani has provided everyone with these robes, so it gives you better access to the neck and shoulders. So we'd ask everyone to like wear a strappy top so we can easily expose the chest, and Dani has these robes, so again it just gives you a little bit more, it just protects your modesty a little bit more. So you can relax into the workshop a little bit more without wondering or without panicking that you're accidentally going to reveal a little bit too much, you know what I mean? And the group had christened these robes the titty curtains. And we were going around like, where's my titty curtain? Where's my titty curtain? Honestly, so funny. It was a mum and two daughters and a couple of friends. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Let's hear from Dani and what she thought about the Saturday as well.
Coming into the Saturday, it was just so lovely. There were moments of complete howling laughing and then really serious, quite intimate, emotional, conversations. So it was just so lovely.
Yeah, she is so right there. It was so wholesome, so joyous. And I think one of the things we have learned about the day retreats in particular is, again, just allowing people to have that space, particularly after lunch. Dani had done some lovely journal prompts, and again we encourage people to utilize the space. And also with the shift in seasons, you know, it's gonna get colder, it's gonna get darker, we're gonna have less daylight hours in the day, so making use of that daylight, right, and making use of the gorgeous grounds around us. We encourage people to maybe sit outside with their journal prompts, and you know, we could see people having lovely conversations. We could see the family having a lovely moment together as well. Again, they're showing up for themselves, but again, they're showing up as a family, and that was beautiful to witness too. And Dani and I just left them to it, just let them have as much space as needed. And when we felt like the time was right, we intuitively started to round people up for the next moment, and that's when it got a bit chaotic about the titty curtains. But again, it was beautiful, and we received one of the most standout comments I think we've ever received. It's really landed with me, and it was lovely Lee, the mother of the two daughters, who apparently she was thinking in the final nervous system regulation practice, which I think is probably my favourite part of the day. And I've said this before, but I think the way in which people arrive and then what they take with them as they leave, they are kind of the moments that matter most to me in a class, in an event. So that final nervous system regulation practice, I make it my absolute priority, and I do my absolute best to make sure that people are leaving feeling this sense of gratitude, support, appreciation, love, kindness, compassion for themselves, for the people around them, and yeah, just really soaking up what this day has meant for them, you know what I mean? And at the end of that nervous system regulation practice, Lee had said, Lauren has a voice like honey and Dani has a touch like silk. And I'm a sucker for like any like wordplay, anything that tickles my brain, anything that just like really lands. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna remember that one. It might even pop up in a poem. Who knows? And I could go on about. Like, part of me wants to unpack, words like honey. It sticks with you, it lands with you, right? But again, it soothes. Honey has that soothing effect, right? Look at me already like analysing it and looking for that poetic undertone within it, right? But yeah, that was a phrase that really, really landed for me. And it was beautiful. That Saturday night was hilarious. We finished the day retreat at 4, and when our final guests arrived, I remember lying in the space that we called the snug. We had a circle of bolsters out. I remember just lying on the floor there, and Dani was like, hold up, don't move, I want to join you in a second. And then she laid on the floor with me, and we're just staring up at the ceiling, again talking about how we think the day when our personal wins and what we love the most, and sharing little stories here and there. Again, just so beautiful. And then we're like, okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's pick everything up. Let's reset the space. We reset the snug, put some of the bolsters back in the car. Again, we thought if we prepped for the brunch event now, got most of it done, then we could fully unwind in the evening. I think I ended up having a bath at some point. And what's funny, whilst I was having a bath, I didn't know what Dani was doing. I thought she was just maybe tidying up a little bit or maybe doing something. But I came downstairs and Dani was like, let me tell you what I've just done. And I was like, all right, what did you just do? Thinking that she'd broken something. And like, Dani is also very clumsy. That was another recurrent theme throughout the weekend. But she was like, I just gathered all these blankets and this towel and I just laid it out on the grass and just cloud gazed for a while. And if that isn't the Daniest sentence I've ever heard in my life, I really wish I'd looked out of my bedroom window at one point and just witnessed Dani having her own main character moment, cloud gazing for however long. But I mean, I love that for her. I'm glad she had that moment. And again, I think it's important when you're spending this real condensed, focused amount of time with one another. It's important for each other to have that space. I took myself off and had a bath. Dani decided to take herself off and cloud gaze for a little bit. Love, joyous. We did have a good party in the car after Audi, and oh my god, this Audi trip as well. We looked like absolute messes, right? I just had a bath and I was like, the thought of putting like proper clothing on right now. And I was like, sod it, I don't care. We're in an area where hopefully no one knows us. We're not going to see anyone. We're not going to bump into anyone. Sod it, I'm going out in my pyjamas. My hair is a mess. I'm wearing pyjamas, no bra. I'm pretty sure Dani didn't have any knickers on at that point. And we just looked like trash. And we walk into this Audi and we're like, it's fine, we're not going to see anyone. But I walk in, I see this woman, I'm like, that looks like Megan. And then as we get a bit closer, I'm like, oh my god, as if that is Megan. Megan looks at us and she's like, what are you guys doing here? And of course, we're looking like absolute trash when we bump into the fashionista herself. So if you don't know Megan Dimmery, get rid with Megan. She is the vintage queen. I've spoken about her before. I think Dani and I have both spoken about her before. She sells your clothing on Vinted for you, and yeah, she's a proper fashionista. She's got such a cool style, and yeah, we rock up in pajamas, no bra, no pants. You honestly couldn't write it. And the funny thing is, we'd said beforehand, we were like, oh, it's fine, we're not going to bump into anyone, it's going to be okay. And of course we jinxed it in that moment. Of course we bumped into someone, of course. As I say, we got the fresh fruit for the brunch, fine little bits and bobs, and then we came back home and we got all cozy. We were going to go out for a meal, but Dani was like, you know what, I just want like a takeaway and just to get cozy on the sofa. And I think this is after I'd had my bath. I think Dani had also had a shower. And I think we were just lying on my bed at this point, neither of us properly dressed. And again, just like saying like, oh yeah, let's do that. We popped this weird ass film on Netflix. What was it called? Something about the ultimate catfish or something, this high school catfish. Oh, if you've seen it advertised or if you've watched it, you'll know exactly what I mean. What the hell is that show? And if you've watched it to the very end, someone DM me and message me about like your thoughts on this, because what the hell? Anyway, that's a complete side note. Back to the retreat debrief. Otherwise, this is going to be like an hour long. Anyway, we were both ending up like falling asleep on the sofa, so we're like, right, okay, let's go. Final night and then final morning. And really, the way in which we approach the morning, like, yes, it's this new event, it's this edition where we've not done before. We really just saw it's like it's just a really nice opportunity to just hang out with the people we love and hang out with the people that support us and yeah, chill with our friends, really. We just feel like we're hanging out with our pals, having a gorgeous brunch, and that's exactly what it was. So, yeah, let's hear Dani's thoughts on it first.
You guys know I love a Pinterest board. Like, any time I get to create one, I'm on it. So being such a new event, the Sunday brunch was Pinterest heaven for me. I had a vision in my mind what I wanted it to look like and how I wanted the day to go, but it actually went even better than I thought. Everyone really utilised the house, the gardens, the space at Pole Hanger once they had got their gorgeous food, and just took a plate out, like resting in the garden, sitting on the lawn, like hanging out, chatting with new people, and it was just so special. And then heading over to the barns, we obviously had such a magical surprise of Maddie joining us for some sound healing during your beautiful yoga session. So just feel like the whole weekend was just such a flow. It was such a vibe.
Yeah, I think this brunch event is gonna stay with me for a long time because it was exactly like we both envisioned it to be, and exactly what Dani was saying about the Pinterest board. She is a Pinterest queen as well, and of course I'm helping to set up, but I felt like everything needed her approval. I was like, Dani, is it okay if I put things here? Does this contribute to the vision? Is this working for you? I almost felt like I was helping my mum out with the roast dinner or something like that. But yeah, that spread looked delightful. I ate far too many croissants, but I'm so thrilled about it at the same time. And it was just so nice to see everyone, again, so spread out throughout the entire farmhouse in the outdoor space as well. People were looking around, checking out the farmhouse, even going up to see the rooms, which they were so welcome to do, soaking up the sun. There was one beautiful moment where I caught Maddie, who was our beautiful sound bath facilitator. As Dani mentioned, that was a little surprise for our guests. There was one moment I caught Maddie sat on the steps outside the farmhouse, literally just gazing into the sun, just soaking it up through her face, and I was just like, what a beautiful, again, main character moment. I feel like there was so many main character moments happening all around me. It was like everyone was having their own little film, their own little scene going on. I was like, wow, this I feel like I'm watching a Netflix show right now and everyone's just living their best life. So again, yeah, that was really, really beautiful. Coming over to the barns, and Dani took everyone through a hot stone self-massage, and that is when I started to, I think, get a little bit emotional. There was just so many people in front of us, and I was just like, we made this happen, you know. It was a real moment, like, and I'm not ashamed to say, you know, we felt really proud of ourselves in that moment. We made this happen, and when Dani and I had a bit of a chat after everyone had left, and I was like, we did this completely on our own. No one helping us. No, like, these are all our ideas, all our effort. We did this, and I think we needed to take that moment just to back ourselves up, to give ourselves that little pat on the back, because that is something we both very rarely do. We're constantly, you know, thinking of how we can serve the collective, how can we create magic for everyone else. And actually, I think we needed that moment to fully recognise what we've done, what we've created. And then I led everyone through a yoga practice. And the funny story about this is that I had planned a yoga practice, and then it was decided that Maddie from Revive Wellness for the sound bath was going to join us. And I was like, I don't know if what I've planned is going to suit a sound bath. But then again, I've never taught yoga with a sound bath happening. And I was like, this is a fun experiment. So I completely threw my plan away and I winged the entire thing. So if you joined us and joined me for the yoga practice on the Sunday morning, that was completely in the moment. And I loved it. The words, obviously, completely in the moment. You guys know that I very rarely plan what I'm going to say anyway. I might have a few notes in front of me. But yeah, that was all off the cuff, and that felt really good to do. Just whatever kind of rose up to the surface, whatever was kind of bubbling in my mind, just kind of like came out my mouth. And I feel like, and I said to Dani at the end, I was like, I feel really happy with the words that came out, because it has happened before where I haven't been so satisfied. But yeah, I think everything came out so beautifully. But there were moments, again, that I was already feeling these emotions, and it felt like I was struggling to get my words out a little bit because I could feel myself getting like slightly choked up. And yeah, and then Dani and I had this really sweet little moment. Basically, we left Maddie to it. She amplified the sound bath a little bit. She was doing her thing, and I looked at Dani, she looked at me, and we shared this little look, and she mouthed to me, "We did it." Oh, and I was just like, I'm gonna cry. And I moved over to sit next to her just to, like really share that moment, but just be really present with it as well. Just these 18 sleeping little yogis in front of us with this delightful sound bath in the background. Wow, what a moment. What a beautiful thing that was. What a joyous thing to witness. Like, and people had shown up to celebrate birthdays, brought a friend with them, brought their mums with them. Maybe it was a surprise. Yeah, it was just really, really beautiful. And then before we knew it, that was that. That was it. The weekend was completed. Everyone slowly made their way home, and Dani and I very quickly put everything away back in the cars. We made sure to do a thorough walkthrough of the farmhouse, and we put it back to basically how we arrived. And we then sat on the grass. We'd brought ourselves some ice cream the night before as well, and we just sat on the grass, had this ice cream, and again we were just like, we did that. We fucking did that. And amazing. Honestly amazing. Even as we're walking around the farmhouse, I could still feel my emotions like right on the surface, because I do feel like that space has just become a real place for us, you know?
The whole weekend was just such a flow. It was such a vibe. I bloody love working with you. And yeah, I'm just feeling really good today. Just gonna harness the week, look after myself, take it easy, and rest up.
And that is exactly how we're feeling, yeah, going into this week. Just soaking up the magic still, taking it all in, tending to ourselves. As I say, we're both feeling pretty battered, but also just really like full hearts right now. And we both got back to our home. I think we both ordered a pizza. If you see my stories, I accidentally ordered two. And you know what? I'm actually so happy about that. And I could have given that pizza to someone else. Yeah, I could have offered it to a neighbour, but she's a greedy bitch. And I was like, no, I'm going to have both these pizzas. Obviously, I didn't have them both at the same time. I saved one for the next day. Delightful scenes. And we both just kind of really tuned it in. And here we are now. So again, thank you so much to everyone who showed up for this event, for our Autumn Equinox Weekend celebration. Stay tuned for what's gonna come next, and you know, Dani and I, it won't be too long before we'll be announcing the next thing, we promise. So yeah, again, thank you. And even if you are a listener and didn't make it to the retreat weekend, again, we felt that love from afar as well. And again, maybe it's convinced you to join in for the next one. Oh my God, also just want to share another little moment that happened on the Friday evening as we're saying bye to everyone. I think it was the lovely Louise came up to me saying, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity because I've been listening to your podcast. Honestly, that was a real moment for me. So thank you, Louise. And this is what I mean. The support, it's just, yeah. It's a real beautiful thing to receive. So again, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I've actually no idea how long this is. If this is a long one, thank you so much for sticking by me. And yeah, goodness, rest up, honeys. Savor the softness of this new season. Take your time, rebel against the rush. And if you're needing that little bit of assistance with that shift into autumn, don't forget there is this bonus episode with an autumn equinox meditation waiting for you over on Patreon, and maybe I shall see you there. All right, honeys, have a gorgeous rest of your Wellness Wednesday, and I will see you next time. Mwah. All right, Stanners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope it has left you feeling suitably inspired. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, all those lovely things, as not only does this help the podcast grow, but it also helps us to reach more beautiful souls who need to hear these conversations. And of course, come hang out with me over on Instagram and TikTok at LaurenAmyYD, and follow the pod at butterflyeffect.pod. You can also dive deeper into yoga, meditations, poetry, and so much more with me over on Patreon. Until next time, keep living a soft life loudly because you know you deserve it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!